What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Don't Feed the Animals, and I'm your host, as always, James. What's up, everybody? I hope you're all having a great week. I hope it's all productive. I hope you're able to do the things that you want to do. And if not, well, come with me on a journey and maybe we can unwrap why. Let me just give you a little insight of my life a little bit. I woke up at 4 in the morning again. The world is quiet in the way when you get up earlier than the sun. The room feels like it's holding its breath. I know where everything in the house is when it's dark because I've done it so many times. Shoes by the door, keys on the table, uniform on the chair. I don't think about it, I just move. And that's what momentum looks like when you strip out inspirational quotes and cute packaging. It's muscle memory. And the body that stands up because it says it would. On the drive into work, the streets are empty. It's really early. The lights flip from red to green for nobody. It always makes me laugh because even the city's running on this program. And I sip something that is supposed to keep me awake. I try to remember whatever dream I was having before the alarm and sliced it in half. And then I let it all go and step into the day that wants things from me. The shift starts and it's in motion. Now I'm at work. Now I'm in a rhythm that feels like drumming on a table. I'm friendly at work because I choose to be. I'm efficient because I have to be. I have 1,000 micro decisions to make and no one else notices. It's a dance. And I know the choreography. Some mornings it feels like I'm having to nail every step. Some mornings it feels like I'm miming the whole thing behind glass. Around the midpoint of the shift, my head always tries to drift. Not into sleep, into thought. And this is where the other part of my life taps me on the shoulder, and it's the creative life, the podcasts, the stuff that makes me feel like I'm building a version of myself that I can live with. I think about the streak. I think about the episodes that landed, the moments where my voice lined up with something true, the moments people told me they felt seen. I think about that part when I go home and I sit down to do it again. And that's the loop. Keep that in mind. Work, create, repeat. Momentum. Okay. And yet there's this question that keeps tugging on me. It's simple. Is this movement still bringing me meaning? Or am I just moving because I don't know how to stop? Or am I not scared of routine? Routine saved me plenty of times. Routine is how you get better at anything. But there's a difference between being carried by momentum and being dragged by it. One feels like flow and the other one feels like a passenger in your own life. And I think about the way that ideas arrive. You know that feeling, like that brain sparking. You can see the whole thing at once. The cover art, the intro line, the twist, the middle, the quiet end. Your chest gets warm and you feel taller. It's like creative momentum. It is a real chemical thing, I'm convinced. A reward for seeing the shape of the thing before it exists. And sometimes that feeling is enough to keep me high for hours. And sometimes that feeling is the reason the idea never turns into anything. See, one thing is, I've learned this about myself. I can fall in love with the vision and forget that the work uses a different circuit. The work requires like a colder fire. It wants patience and repetition, not the flash of a new spark. And I had a conversation about this before where I said the high comes from seeing it, not doing it. And to be fair, I stand by that. It's not an insult to the doing. It's more like an honest reading into the brain. The two energies are like cousins, not twins. So this shows up in people like everywhere. You know, artists who fill up notebooks with plans and story arcs and never make them onto the canvas. The runner who buys shoes and follows a training plan for a week and then checks out the next cool plan, starts to feel better than continuing. The guy at work who outlines a new system during lunch and then never opens the document again. Even in relationships, it appears. The thrill of declaring we're going to go do things differently, that rush of clarity, and then the calendar shows up and then asks for the real, which is effort on ordinary days. So here I am in that tension again. I have momentum. I prove it when I wake up, when I show up, when I hit record on days I'm not sure if I have anything to say. But meaning is not impressed by a calendar alone. Meaning asks questions. Why this story? Why this tone? Why this version of me? Meaning's personal. You can't outsource it. You can't borrow it. You have to sit with it long enough to hear what it wants. Sometimes it wants less. Sometimes it wants more. Sometimes it wants the same thing done with a different heart. I look at the way I've been living and I see two tracks. One, I manage the day. Bills, shifts, meals, errands, messages, workouts, little small wins. And then there's the other track where I manage my soul. What do I believe in? Who am I becoming? Where is the line between discipline and denial? When have I confused being busy with being brave? I am not judging myself. I'm trying to be honest about how it feels to hold tracks all at once. Some weeks they run parallel, I feel aligned, and other weeks they cross and I feel a jolt. That jolt is the body yelling at me that the story that I'm trying to tell about my life is, and what I'm actually living, is totally out of sync. So momentum can hide that mismatch for a while. The same way a loud room hides a conversation that is falling apart. As long as you keep moving, you can convince yourself that you're fine. Then you hit a quiet morning. Like the ones I keep finding. And the truth taps you on the chest and you can ignore it. Or you can breathe and let it talk. I'm choosing to listen. What meaning wants from me right now is clarity. Not a dramatic change. Not a rebrand. Not a declaration that I'm done with anything. Just clarity. And what I'm building here, what is the function of my effort? If I strip away a need to impress anybody, a need to keep up, a need to prove that I'm consistent, what do I have? And I think that what remains is pretty simple. I think, to tell the truth about being a person who tries, I want to make something that honors how hard that is without making it sound impossible. I want whoever listens to feel alone in their own loops, because I'm speaking from inside mine. And I'm not speaking from the finish line. That means the way I record matters. The tone matters. The way I let silence breathe matters. The fact that I come home from that early shift and still sit down to talk, that matters. It matters even when the idea doesn't feel like a new brand. It matters because meaning is created in doing and really not imagining. So the work is where the idea becomes real, and the reality is where we actually meet each other. I also have to admit something that is not fun to admit. And there are days where I keep the streak because I'm scared to face the feeling of starting over. There are days where I'm less excited about the story and more excited about the comfort of knowing I know who I am when I'm busy. And I respect that instinct. But I will not lie about it because busy can become a costume. It fits well and it looks productive. It also, but keep in mind, it does not always mean we're moving towards the thing that feeds us, though. I can run on a treadmill for an hour and never get closer to the mountain I keep talking about. Effort is not the same as direction. So, what changes when I say that out loud? I think I start asking better questions during the day. When an idea hits, I ask, what part of this vision, what part of this is vision and what part of this is work? So when I sit down to write, I ask myself, am I writing to impress a phantom audience or to speak to one real person who might need this? And when I feel the old fear, I ask if it's a fear of failing or a feeling. And they're different. Failing is practical. You learn from it. Feeling is personal. You have to sit with it. There is a loop I've noticed in myself, and it goes like this. I sense a lack, and then I respond with a plan. And the plan gives me momentum. And with that momentum, it gives me identity. I take that identity and I make it comfortable. And that comfort hides what I lack to begin with. Then the quiet returns and reminds me that the plan was not the answer. It was the container. The answer was always going to be found in how I lived inside the plan. If I stuff the container with noise, I get noise back. If I fill it with honest work, I get meaning back. So I look at the places where this has worked. Times where I didn't overthink and I just did the next thing with care. Episodes that felt like I was not performing but living out loud. Conversations where I told a story that hurt a little, but it left me lighter. Those weren't grand gestures. They were me choosing meaning in the middle of momentum. A small pivot in attention. 10 more minutes of honesty. I wanted to wrap it up. A choice to keep it human even when I could have been slick. But this is not a sermon. I'm not trying to sell you a system. We'll save that for the future when I come up with something great. But I am describing what feels like to be a person who wants to move and also wants to feel something while moving. I do not think of those two as enemies. I think they have to learn each other. The way you learn a partner, the way you learn a dog you walk every day, the way you learn a craft. You practice, you pay attention, you adjust, and you try tomorrow. There is also the body. The body remembers. The body keeps score of a different kind. When I skip sleep or ignore my own needs, the body shows up with the bill. when I take care of it, it lets me carry more. Meaning, it's not just a mental game. I know this. On the mornings where I eat right and move right, the words come easier. On the days where I do one kind thing for myself, the patience to sit and write shows up. And it's all connected. Not in a shiny way, but in like a biological way. And then there is community. The people who text back, the people who listen when they do not comment. The friend who says, I heard that line and it stuck with me all week. The stranger who says, your voice sounded calm and it helped me breathe. That's meaning showing itself through other people. But even that can't be the only fuel. External feedback is a weather pattern. It changes. It's nice when it rains. It's nice when it's sunny. You still have to live. I think about the version of me who wants to be heroic. The version who wants to be seen as the guy who kept going. The one who got back up. The one who put his heart into the mic and left it there. I like that guy. I would root for him. But I also think about the quieter version. The one who does not need to be a symbol. The one who just wants to be at peace with his choices at the end of the day. The second version is the one meaning keeps pointing me toward. Be the person who shows up and also knows why. So what is the why? Today it's simple. I record because telling the truth in my own voice helps me become the person I keep saying I want to be. I record because there is someone on the other side who needs a reminder that trying is not ugly. Trying is not lame. Trying is not a failure. Trying is proof that you're alive. I record because momentum without meaning becomes noise. And meaning without momentum becomes fantasy. I want the two together. A body that moves. A heart that knows where it's going. If you're in your own loop right now, if you have a plan you got heavy, if you have a streak that's started to feel like handcuffs, I'm with you. You don't have to burn it down. You don't have to reinvent yourself for the 8th time. You might just need to sit in a chair for 10 minutes and remember what the point was. If the point was to look impressive, you'll feel hollow. If the point was to feel alive, you'll find a way to feel alive inside the same routines. It's not the plan that makes it all empty or full. It's the presence you bring to it. When the shift ends, I'll drive home in the daylight. The city will be awake again, and there'll be people everywhere. Everyone with a story I don't know, each one carrying their own mix of momentum and meaning. I'll park, take a breath. I'll sit down to record, not because I'm afraid to miss a week, not because I'm trying to keep up with everyone else. I will sit down because I want to hear myself think in real time. I want to mark this moment in my life where I decide to recalibrate my compass. Not a huge turn, just a few degrees closer to true. There is something freeing about admitting you forgot why for a minute, though. It lets you find honesty, not as performance. I do not owe anyone an image. I owe myself a life. And my life includes this practice of speaking out loud until my thoughts line up with my chest. And I'm proud of that. I'm not ashamed of needing to adjust. Athletes adjust, musicians retune, chefs taste, add salt. It's the same thing. If you're listening and you're tired, me too, man. If you're listening and you're hopeful, me too, man. If you're listening and you're both at once with me, welcome to the human part. We're allowed to want more than movement. We're allowed to want movement that matters. We're allowed to keep going while we figure out what matters today. And I'll end it with something simple. When you wake up tomorrow, whatever time your world calls for, ask a small, clear question before you start moving. What am I feeding with my effort today? If the answer makes you feel tight, adjust. If the answer makes you feel a tiny bit more open in the chest, keep going. That's it. That is the practice. I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep listening for the difference between the rush of the new idea and the steady flame of the work. I'm going to keep choosing the flame, not just because it's noble, but because it's alive. Momentum will carry me to the chair, but meaning will keep me there. And somewhere between the first sentence and the last sentence, I'll remember who I'm trying to be. And that is enough for today. Thanks for being here with me while I figure it out all in real time. And honestly, if this landed, good. If it stung, well, maybe that's good too. Either way, I'm grateful. Anyway, I'm going to go get some water, breathe for a second, and press record again sometime this week. Same body, clearer compass, and a little more honest each time.
We talk a lot of junk, yeah, you vibing with us now. Build something from the ground up, yeah, we like to clown. Talk about some real stuff, yeah, something profound. It's a pleasure that you're hearing us, wouldn't mess around. It's a topic of discussion worth talking that we bust and put a nail in the coffin. If you love it, then you love it. If you don't mean nothing, still bring it to the public. Y'all, don't feed the animals, put them in a cage, they couldn't handle truth. We gonna bust out the gate like some cannibals. Same face, same channel, messing with the tune. A bunch of idiots stuck in one room, can't take us serious. You love what we feeding you. I'm with the show, yeah, proceed with the interview. Local celebrity, snatch a toy from your cereal.